This episode is all about the Disability Expo that took place in London last week. Julia and I went and we want to talk all about it. There were so many cool things to see, such as the People's Panel where we spoke about disability in media. You should be warned that this episode contains the use of slurs. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Ramped Up. This is the podcast all about disability. My name is Sprouse.
I'm Sienko.
And I'm Lexi Bushnell.
And we wanted to come here, and this episode is really going to focus on the Disability Expo in London that took place on Thursday and Friday last week. So the 6th and the 7th of July. Julia and I both went together, and we just want to tell you all about it, essentially.
Yay!
I found out about it originally last year, and unfortunately I found out about the expo, I think it was like a month after last year's one, and so I signed up to book for the next one, and I was a bit like, I have no idea what to expect. I went with a completely, no expectations at all. We'll just see what happens. And I said, oh, Julia, you might be interested in this. So Julia came along for Thursday. I went to Thursday and Friday, she just went to Thursday. And it was amazing, quite honestly. Like I say, no idea what to expect. It was at the XL in London, which is this big, fancy conference, exhibition center thing. I don't know what it is. But there's like 16-ish, I think, 16, 18 massive halls. They are massive. And, they hire it out to different people. So we were in one of them, and there were so many stalls. So there's stalls going around the perimeter and stalls in the middle, and you also had sort of 5 areas. So you had the People's Panel, which is where there were lots of different debates. There was the centre stage, which was more like a, so there were comedians there and stuff like that. There was an area called the Gaming Zone, so you could try lots of different, games and assistive technologies over there.
The kind of area.
Yeah, so there was lots of I forget what they're called, assistive technology, joysticks, and there was an eye tracker. I forget what it's called, eye gaze tracker. So if you have full body paralysis, for example, you can use your eyes to look at buttons on the screen. There were so many bits. I'm trying to find the list of things.
There was also
Okay.
employability zone, also.
What? Employability lounge, yes.
Ability zone, yeah.
Yeah. And the Have a Go zone. The Have a Go zone was amazing. That was probably one of my highlights.
Is the Go zone the one where they've played all the different sports?
Yeah, exactly. So I tried 2 different sports.
I kind of briefly saw it because Jill was like, come and watch me, was it volleyball?
No, rugby.
Rugby. And I was like, oh, okay. I might, literally I was there for maybe 2 minute tops because I couldn't participate because I couldn't transfer to the chairs. But I did sit there for a minute and a half just to see you play, so that was fun.
Yeah, and that was definitely the most fun I've had in a good couple months. Just sort of whizzing around with these really agile chairs.
Speaking of that, there was actually a moment, I hope you're going to post it because it was the most hilarious moment, my highlight of the day, you trying out that tilting chair where to maneuver it, you had to tilt forwards, backwards, and to turn, you had to kind of lean your
Tilt
body
sideways.
Yeah, to turn side to side. Lexi, if I could show you the video now, it's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. His face, he was pure stress.
So if you lean gently forwards, that's it, keep going, and push back in the chair to stop. Excellent. And every time you push back to stop, you put yourself back into the neutral.
Just absolute pure stress.
You move your body like that much, like a couple millimeters, and you start driving.
Wait, what are those called? The ones where you just stand on it and it's like
A Segway.
handles that you can go forward. What is that
It's
called?
a Segway.
Segway. Imagine a Segway, but on 2 wheels. Or was it 1 wheel?
Well, Segways have 2 wheels. It was a Segway that you sit on. That is what it was.
That was only to turn it on and off, and that was it. Nothing else.
I've seen Segways, and they look terrifying, and I've heard they're really stable and such, but I don't know.
You know, it was so sensitive. I remember Joel was panicking. He leaned too far forward, and he was like zooming off, and I was like, Joel, calm down. You're okay. You're okay.
Oh my goodness.
He was silent the entire time, but you can just tell by his facial expressions he was not having it.
I enjoyed it very much. I mean, I was struggling to have a conversation while driving because it's so much to think about.
I was trying to talk to you, and you're just like mute the entire time. Mute. That was a highlight of my day.
But that was easily the most sci-fi chair I've ever driven. Like, it looks like something out of Star Wars. You know, what's that droid?
R2D2.
Is
that one. That is what it looks like.
Or is it like the BB-8 one?
Yeah.
The little ball.
R2D2 is the old one. Sorry, wrong one.
I've never watched Star. Well, I watched one movie of Star Wars. I was like, I'm bored.
I haven't watched it. I just know it's really cute. It looks like a soccer.
No, actually, I've got a better comparison. Imagine Wall-E. That's
Wall-E. It's not Wall-E at all. That is even less like it.
No, I would say
No.
so, maybe.
R2D2. I'm Googling it now.
It is the right one. We were all right.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Should I Google R2D2 and see which one it
Oh,
is?
no, it's not R2D2. It's not R2D2. What am I thinking?
I want to say it's called BB-8.
BB-8.
It's BB-8. Is it? No. BB-8,
Yeah, it's BB-8. Anyway, point is, it looked like a really sci-fi thing. And it was really fun to drive. Really stressful, but really fun. I'll tell you what else was really fun to drive. So there were lots of wheelchairs there, and lots of stalls, and you could try them out. There was one that's like, it looks like a tricycle, but it's motored.
oh, I understand what you're talking about now, yeah.
And we met up with someone who follows the podcast, and we follow each other on TikTok. And they approached me. I was like, I know you. I'm like, okay, help.
Keep in mind, we were always separated. Me and Joel, like, occasionally we bumped into each other, but hardly ever were we together the entire day, basically.
But Sunny came up to me, and they're a really cool artist. Go follow them on TikTok. But we both tried these chairs at the same time, and we were just like little children. This is insane. Whatever this is, it is insane. Yeah. Let's try full speed. Let's turn around and go full speed. We are being such children. Wait. I'm spinning around you. Whoa. That is quick on its own. Ah! You sure you know where the brakes are, yeah?
Okay, I know where the brakes are.
Cool.
Okay, we go.
Hang on. We are such children. Go. Oh my goodness, what the heck? Sorry. This is ridiculous. We would be like, who can go fastest? Let's race each other. Let's try not to crash into people as we drive along.
Yeah, I bet staff was stressed.
It was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because where there was a lot of people around. I remember at one point, me and another friend of ours, Theo, went with us as well. Me and him went out to catch some air because it's very stuffy in there. I'm not gonna lie, it was very hot in there. But when we came outside, I just saw a bunch of people whizzing in those chairs, the ones that were they were on showcase for them people to try. But I just see people zooming up and down the open area where you go out in.
There were some amazing chairs. If you're watching a video version of this podcast, I will be putting up lots of photos and videos. If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, I am sorry, it won't be so good. You'll just hear the sounds of us squealing in excitement.
I think we might post some of the clips on social media, like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, I was meant to do that on Thursday and Friday. I did not have the energy, so I apologise.
The entire day, there was no time to even look at our phones, to be honest. I didn't even look at my phone once. But the thing is, that clip of you in that chair, it needs to be seen by the world. I'm not even kidding. I want it to be seen. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly pause and just go over all the different areas. So you had the centre stage, people's panel, have a go zone, employer board lounge, sensory zone, which I didn't go in, and the gaming zone. And they had a accessible home as well. So let's try and cover all of those topics and try and salvage some sort of structure to this podcast episode.
Yeah. Wait, what zones did you go to the most? Because me and Theo went to the home kind of section where they had the showcasing of accessible accessories to make it easier. I was also a lot in the gaming zone and the sensory zone as well.
Okay, you did all the ones that I didn't do. That works well.
Oh, there we go. That works.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't go to the centre stage much. From my understanding, that was for comedians and, stuff like that. So I wasn't there a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to sound mean, but did you think that, I'm talking about the people's panel now, that we went to the one at, I think it was 10, or 11, I can't remember now the time.
11.
But it was one with talking about disabled people in the media.
Yeah.
And I feel after people, because there was a lot of people on that panel, listening in. But as soon as that finished, I just saw less and less people in the actual expo. In the area, everyone dispersed immediately, and I was like, what is going on?
I think there's a lot of people who are interested in that topic because it has been quite a topic.
Trying to find a spot to stand was actually impossible. I kind of snuck in there, and Joel came behind me. He was like, since you're standing here, I'm going to stand behind you.
Yeah, but I think that talking about disability in media is a topic that is very spoken about at the moment. There's a lot of different opinions, and I mean, we spoke about this last week, me and all of us, about the workshops that we're doing and how important it is that we are represented in the right way. And so I was, there was a lot of interest in that one. It was done quite well. I'm not sure if they recorded it and it's available online. I hope so, because I enjoyed it. What's that?
Actually, hardly any cameras around, unless they're doing those ones that you can't see, which I highly doubt.
I think they were, it was just a Zoom call or something. But I don't know if they recorded the Zoom call.
Another topic I want to kind of touch on, and I don't know if maybe you're aware.
Wait, I want to try and get this in some sort of order. So I want
Okay.
us to do like the different zones first.
Alright.
Otherwise,
Next
when I'm
zone.
editing, I'm going to be all over the place.
Okay, next zone. What zone do you want to talk about?
So you were talking about the home area. So I
Yeah.
think just let's properly explain what that was.
So basically, it was kind of a model home kind of area where they had like a setup for a bedroom, a living room, and bathroom, a living room, and a kitchen. I was more interested in the bedroom and the bathroom section. I actually got a pamphlet from them. And there was quite a few like very nifty gadgets, like things like like cutting boards, but they were kind of having like suction cups to them, where you can like attach them to a surface where they don't move around, which I thought was quite cool. I mean, you can definitely like attach some suction cups to a normal cutting board, but like I thought that was quite nifty. There was also a feeding robot, which I was quite interested in. Not saying I need it, but like I was quite interested. The only
Manita eater.
Huh? Sorry.
Manita eater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although the one concern I did mention to the guy, which I was like, how do you avoid this, is if you accidentally get knocked in the teeth.
Oh.
I was like,
And it's not actually automated. It's not actually automated. It's just like a
I
spring.
didn't really talk to him much about it. I just commented saying, "Oh, that's quite a good idea." He's like, "Yeah, it's good for people who are paralyzed and who have not as
Limited mobility in their
limited
arms.
motor skills."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's a cool idea." But then when we kind of like left that area, I turned to Theo. I'm like, "What happens if you get knocked in the teeth by accident by the spoon?" I'm not saying that it's gonna like do anything to you. It's just gonna hurt.
Julia, just slow down a bit because we're going really quickly.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I know you're excited, but whoa.
What else did I see? The bathroom. Majority of the bathroom stuff I've seen were accessible, like sinks, like specially made sinks. So for people who maybe want to wash their hair only, so the sink is specifically made to like put your head back. I kind of wash it like a hairdresser kind of style. If you go to the hairdressers and get your hair cut,
Yeah.
kind of that kind of thing. There was also a sink that went up and down, which I thought was quite cool as well.
One of the areas that I saw was the gaming zone. So this was like, I don't know, 10 plus computers, each hooked up to different, I forget what they're called.
Types of controllers.
Oh, I said it earlier.
The eye tracking soft thing?
Yeah, there's a word for it.
Processing.
Mm. Word's completely gone. Editor will just put it in here.
Flash to 10 minutes ago says the word back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's different like controls that you can use. So there's joysticks and there's large buttons, and if you're watching a video podcast, again, I'll put images in here to show you, you know, the different tools that were available for those with different types of disabilities. And I think it's really cool that there's lots of technology like this that enables disabled gamers to join in with, you know, with gaming and the things that their non-disabled friends are doing. It's really cool to see that.
Me and you played the VR headset, which was also quite cool.
Yeah, as there's a augmented reality headset there. I don't think we got a video of it, unfortunately.
I think so. I think so immersed in the game, we just kind of forgot.
What was the augmented reality like? What exactly is that?
So it's a little bit like virtual reality, except you can see the world around you, but then you have like digital images like projected-ish. And so the game that we played, there's like this sort of
The target kind of thing where
yeah, target.
you had not like a screen, but it was like a controller strapped to your wrist, and through movement, you like the on the screen it would shoot like little balls, I guess, or like little projectiles at said. It looked kind of like a dartboard cut in 4 quarters, and you had to hit either in the middle, right in the middle, to get all 4 pieces, or at least get one of the pieces to like knock them down. It was quite good actually. We played 2 rounds, I think, each.
Yeah.
The thing is, with you, it was a lot easier because you didn't move. You were just a standstill target, so I could hit you more easily. I actually beat him on my first game. I beat Joel on the first game, but then I played.
She's so proud of that.
I am. It's the only time I ever like win anything against Joel, so I'm gonna like brag about it, deal with it. But I also played with our friend Theo, who also went with us. And he was a moving target, so the bugger kept moving around, so I couldn't hit him.
Theo is I was going to say able-bodied. He isn't physically disabled. He has autism. And he's, walking around, making it harder for Julia.
He was kind of following me around the entire expo because he didn't know who to talk to or where to go. I'm like, you can stick with me, it's fine. And Joel just went off to do his own thing.
Yeah, because it became quite clear that me and Julia, as much as we both love disability, we're very interested in different parts of disabilities. So I went around taking pictures of wheelchairs, and Julia's just like, okay then, I'll go and see the employability of the business owner and stuff.
No, the only reason because I couldn't transfer onto said chairs. So I couldn't join in the fun. So I thought, you know what, let's make myself useful and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in the gaming zone, though. Every single time Joel called me, he's like, where are you? I'm like, gaming zone, gaming zone, gaming zone. He kept finding me there.
Yeah. Did you go into the Zendry zone?
So we briefly did. It was kind of towards the end before we actually left. I tried to buy a sensory toy, but my card wasn't working, so I couldn't. So I was quite sad. But it was quite cool. There was actually I don't know how to explain it. It looked like a big glowing box, and it had like 4, like it had
like a big igloo, an inflatable igloo.
I mean, it wasn't igloo. It was literally like a acrylic, like see-through cube that had like light in the middle, and each side had a different sensory, like light. How do you call it? Light trigger? Not light trigger. Sensory trigger. Does that make? Help me here.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
What I'm talking about is like, I wish I took a picture now. I wish I did. It was literally like a big cube. Each side had a different thing going on, but it all was glowing. One of them was doing bubbles. One of them had like fake snow kind of like going around in circles. Another one had like kind of like a lava lamp situation where it was like bits of coloured like liquid going up and around like a lava lamp. I don't know. I wish I took a picture of it. But it was quite cool. It was very visually stimulating.
Not so sensory stimuli.
I tried to also get like some sensory toys, but again, my card wasn't working, so I couldn't.
Mm.
But it was all good fun, definitely. Did you use the beds by any chance?
Was that what?
The beds.
Did I try them?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Actually, the people who were actually meant to be showcasing them were falling asleep on them.
Yeah. I saw that a few times.
Around, like, I saw 2 people on, like, I didn't know they make double beds for, like, disabled people, like, double bed, like, the medical beds, but make them, like, queen size. Did not know they did. Did not know that. Personally, I picked up a flyer, and I'm considering getting one. I'm not kidding. But again, a queen size bed, but the people who were meant to showcase them were literally sleeping on it. And the other person who was with them, she's like, you can tell it's a very good product because they're falling asleep. I'm like, very much so. Love that for them. But yeah. What else did we do?
I think just the last thing was the have a go zone, just to sort of wrap it up. So they had lots of different activities there. It's just this big open space in the corner. And there were a few taster sessions that people were doing. So there was the wheelchair rugby.
He looks too small for that big head.
I know.
I don't proud parents right now. Like, look at that baby go.
And I am now looking for a club to join near me because I enjoyed it so much. But there were bocce taster sessions. Now, bocce is a Paralympic sport. I used to do it when I was about 10. And so you would, like, you have a white ball somewhere on the playing field, and there are two teams, a red team and blue team, and you have to try and get your team's ball as close to the white ball as possible, and you can knock your opponent's balls out of the way. So that was one of the taster sessions there. There was wheelchair basketball, wheelchair tennis. I really wanted to try that, but I didn't get to, unfortunately.
When was the basketball? Was it when we left?
I did it on Friday.
Oh, that's why I didn't do it. Because I was like,
it was on both days.
Oh, maybe it was literally when we left because me and Theo had to leave for the train.
No, it wasn't, wait, basketball.
Because I personally didn't see it. And every time I looked...
No, because they rotate it, don't they? So you were in another part. Apparently it was on Thursday at 12:30.
Oh. Or maybe I just wasn't paying attention, and I only paid attention once you said to me, hey, come watch me play thingy, or was it rugby?
You'll get them mixed up with other things. Because you were, I think we were getting lunch at the time.
Or maybe. I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, we did, what else did we do? So yeah, the dancing sessions, and just lots of different things that you can try. I guess just to remind disabled people that you might be disabled, but there's lots of things you can still do. Which I think is an important message and it came across.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's backtrack a little, and let's talk about the organisation of the whole expo as a whole, and actually no, before that, so these stalls that were all around the hall, there were of different types. So some were selling products, some were offering freebies, some were charities, just sort of advertising themselves. So when I went there, I was primarily around Scope, which is a disability equality charity, because I'm involved with Scope quite a bit. And so I was just unofficially helping them out and talking to people about the services that they offer. But there were so many charities. So I know that Julia saw Shine, which is the charity for like spina bifida and hydrocephalus, I believe.
Yes, but they're mainly for children until the age of 18.
Right. Yeah. I saw Whiz Kids. I saw, so many different charities and people there offering their products and services. And yeah, it was really good to see, because sometimes, like, online, it's quite hard to find these places and to know that they exist. But seeing them all together in one place was really good to see, how many people there are and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Although one thing that me and Theo did realise was there was actually a lot of things or things, charities and like products around people with physical disabilities, but not very many with hidden disabilities or learning disabilities. The one we actually managed to find, which also I want to say that the map that they gave wasn't very clear, I don't think. Me and Theo were always getting lost. I don't think we were even the only ones. Letty kept finding us every once in a while. She's like, "Where am I? Where am I going?" I'm like, "I don't know. I can't tell you." But the only store we were able to find was the Sunflower lanyard stand that was in the front of the expo.
Yeah.
We had a very good chat with the people at that store, and they definitely agreed with us that there should be a bit more stalls and things involving autism and learning disabilities, and more resources around, especially since the expo is such a big organization of different charities and people just
Big collection.
know what's going on and what's available for people with disabilities. So they definitely agreed with us. We had a bit of a conversation about Autism Speaks. Not a very good conversation when it comes to like the positive things, but very much where there needs to be more representation other than Autism Speaks. Because Autism Speaks is a very toxic way of looking at autistic people, which we can all agree on, definitely.
Definitely.
She was also disappointed by how many there's only one store to do with autism apart from the Sunflower lanyard, which was the sensory zone as well, which itself was very small as well.
I was just looking for the map that I got given. There was a map. It wasn't clearly labelled that there was.
Exactly. Me and Theo went around like, does anyone have a map? Does anyone have a map? And then when we came to the front, one of the people in the neon, like the reflective jackets, she was like, "Oh, do you guys have our booklet for this year's expo?" Which I don't know where mine actually is. I haven't got it on me.
I've got one.
I know I got one, but I don't know where it is. Like I looked through the bags, I couldn't find it. Nonetheless, we did get one again, and she was like, "Oh, it's there." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not very clearly labelled."
Yeah. So
Like
this is a map. This is a map that I got given, and you can sort of see all the different zones and some of the labels.
Did you think that some of them were like kind of like rounded down, if that makes sense? Like there was less stalls in some zones than others when it wasn't actually true? If that makes sense?
Wait, there was some what?
They made like the oh my god, the one with the equipment for like better living zone, whatever it was called. Like that zone was a lot bigger on the map, but it was a lot smaller when you went into it, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, it's not to scale. The map's definitely not for scale.
But still.
But I will say,
very small.
I will say though, that it is very much not the easiest map to read.
There's also no arrows to point you where to go. So if you are standing by some store like the Sunflower Lanyard store, you won't be able to know what way to go if you want to go back to Scope, for example. That's just an example I wanted to give that makes sense. That we both.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to sign for everything, would you? But the numbering as well. They did try to number it, but the numbering system that they used for each store wasn't particularly clear.
I didn't really use the map. I just kind of just went around. But then Theo was like, "I want to find something to do with autism." And I'm like, "Okay, but I don't know where to look for that. So let's go find the map."
Yeah.
But yeah, it was okay. I didn't go for the 2 days, but you did.
I didn't go for what?
I didn't go for the full 2 days, but you did. So I'm guessing you did a lot more than I did.
Yeah. What did I do on the Friday? But I didn't. do on Thursday?
All I know is that you were dead to the world because you messaged me saying, I'm putting the premiere for our next episode for tomorrow, which was Saturday. I'm going to bed. See you later. That was the last text I received.
I was so dead because it takes me 2 hours to get there, 2 hours to get back. Near
By
enough.
the way, this boy.
And I was there for 7 hours.
No, this
What's
boy
that?
tries to go for 9 a.m. Both days.
Yeah.
Me and Theo got there before 10. And we both left at the same time.
Joel, did you go with anybody? Anybody else?
No, I didn't. Julia was my +1, and she brought a +1. But she only went to one day. Chicken didn't want to spend
I'm
all
not
Friday.
chicken. I was also preparing for a very long weekend, which was actually very true.
Yeah. So, but I did make a friend. So wait, Letty, not Lexi. That's going to become confusing. Letty. I mean, Lexi, I feel like I should probably call you Willow for this episode just so that we don't get confused. Or that might confuse people. I don't know. Either way, there's going to be confusion. But Letty is someone that both me and Julia follow separately on our social media accounts. But we didn't realise we knew each other. So Letty goes to the same uni as Julia.
Mhm.
And we met, and that was sort of, for a bit, my +1 for some of the day. And then Sunny was my...
Also gone missing most of the day as well. I tried to find her.
Yeah. Well, it's so big you can't really track everyone. And then Sunny was sort of a person I hang around with the most on the Friday. And very cool person to hang out with. Just messing around and, trying out these chairs that we'd never tried before, and had a good conversation while we waited and whatever. Yeah, I was going to say something else. I had a discussion with a guy with cerebral palsy. I don't remember his name. I'm appalling with names, as you guys have already worked out. But he was talking about charities and how in the past charities used to feel very that they would want people to rely on them. They'd make you dependent on them. And so we were talking a bit about that and why that means he doesn't trust charities anymore. I mean, everything I do near enough is for charities. And so all my quote unquote work is for charities. And so I don't really agree with him, but we had an interesting discussion about charities and their involvement and how they speak up for disabled people. He was very much of the opinion that he had to be the one to raise his voice, which I completely respect, and it is important that disabled people are speaking up for themselves. But having said that, there's nothing wrong with working with charities to do that too.
From the very brief summary that you just gave, I can kind of see both sides, to be honest. Because I tried to get involved in some charities growing up, but it didn't really work too well. Or they'll be like, "Oh, sorry, we can't help you until you're 18." Like, it stops at 18 and that's it. Like, I never really looked into charities that worked with young people or, like, older disabled people or someone who is elderly, for example. Like, I haven't really looked into it. Scope is kind of I'm aware of what they do. I've always been aware of what they do and what they stand for and anything that they've done. But, like, I never had the urge to want to, like, join them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, it was kind of like, the same old thing where, yes, we have to raise our voices. Yes, we get it, but at what cost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then, with our brief conversation with Gabby that we had a couple of times with me and Joel, that we've had with her, I kind of warmed up more to her and to Scope, that now I'm kind of more willing to work with them. We're actually now trying to, with their help, trying to get guests onto our podcast. Hopefully, if fingers crossed, it works. And helping us getting our name out there and like actually get people involved, which is amazing. Definitely.
Yeah.
Will we be able to go back on about the people's panel for a bit?
You want to talk about the people's panel?
Yes, the one that
Yeah,
we
sure.
thought together.
Yeah.
One important conversation that somebody started during the Q&A session was about the controversial documentary by, oh my gosh, Rosie Jones, that uses a offensive disability slur word as its main title. And something that actually was raised, and I think is actually very true, is that unfortunately in the media, the shock factor works the most. So I'm like, we all know, and I think people now are more aware of it, that these slurs are used against disabled people, especially those ones who you can they can actually see their disability, and they understand the impact of those words. But unfortunately, if the person, so Rosie Jones, used any other title for her document, it's a documentary, I think it's a documentary, for her documentary, it will not be seen by the media, or nobody will really look at it, listen to it, unless you are wrapped in the disabled community itself. If you're wondering what slur word I'm referring to, is the R word.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I've not seen the documentary. I had never heard of it.
It is going to be released, but it hasn't been released yet. It's currently a topic of conversation among the community at the moment.
Things that I have seen, I've seen more, I guess, I have seen quite a few slurs kind of thing used in more everyday stuff that a lot of it people don't realize is a slur. I've also seen where more able-bodied people are trying to reclaim it for disabled people, and that kind of comes off weird. But I have seen a lot of like the shock value. It does seem like there is a lot more. Shock value sells, just like sex sells. So does being controversial.
Yeah, something else that was mentioned during the panel, I believe, oh my gosh, now I can't remember his name. Hold on, let me just look at my notes. Stand by, hold on.
But yeah, you're right. Being controversial is attention grabbing, and I think that's the purpose of this. I don't like that she used the word, but I think it is good in a way because we are trying to reclaim these slurs. Like the LGBTQ plus community reclaimed the word queer. That used to be offensive to that community of people. And at the moment, words like cripple and retard are still very offensive to be used. But I know that cripple is definitely being reclaimed. It's not reclaimed yet, and so I don't think it's the right time to be using this word. So in this context, it just feels a bit too early to be, but I've not seen the documentary. I've heard that it is very good, and she says some really good things. Like I say, it's not out yet, and so I haven't seen it. But it was spoken about in the expo at the People's Panel, and people just talking about why they think it's good. And I think there's been. I think Rosie has been unfairly attacked to some degree. I think in a way it's gotten quite personal. I mean, it has touched a lot of people in that way because a lot of people have been subjected to the use of this word in an offensive way, and so actually, using this word is very personal to a lot of people. But I don't think it's fair that people have attacked Rosie Jones in this way. It's very debatable and controversial, yes, but I don't think that gives anyone a right to be so vicious to her.
But going back on what you said about reclaiming the word, do you personally think the use of the R word, like for me personally, right, because that word was used against me quite a bit, especially in secondary school, I personally don't want to reclaim that word because that word has been used against me so many times that now that word holds a lot of pain. And like even the word like for me cripple, like no, to me cripple means you're not able, like you are vulnerable, that you are weak, that you are a target, if that makes sense. So I don't know, maybe it's just personal preference, but personally for me, I do not want to reclaim any of those offensive words because it hurts.
I understand that point of view, and I think that's the same thing that a lot of people would say. It is a word that is used to hate upon people and to harm people. So yeah, I can understand that point of view.
Someone take over because I'm starting to cry. We need to change topics.
Yeah, it's a controversial topic, but I know that people can speak on for ages about it because it is so it's personal.
Were there any other things that were discussed in the people panels? Like you mentioned that media was a big one, and that makes a lot of sense because the media is the one thing that every single one of us has in common. Not everyone uses a wheelchair, not everyone has sensory issues, but everyone watches movies or watches TVs or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that is something that I think that's the reason why it is so popular. And I'll admit, I love talking about it. Kind of obsessively, not gonna lie. Like, were there any other topics or things that were of interest, either about the media panel or anything else?
From what I saw, I didn't see much. There were lots and lots of events on. Unfortunately, it wasn't particularly accessible because of the nature of the room. It's quite hard to hear. It was at that volume where when you're trying to hear it, it's slightly too quiet, and when you're not trying to hear it, it's too dominating. So it did make it quite difficult to listen to for long periods of time. I know that there were lots of topics, so there was one about international travel, and so getting on a plane, and you hear so many horror stories of times when people's mobility aids, wheelchairs in particular, are broken by like the luggage people. I don't know what the proper term for them is. There was another one talking about domestic travel, so when you're getting like trains and buses and things like that. There was one I really wanted to go to, but I missed it. There was one about sex and relationships. That one did sound interesting. But I think at that point I was distracted playing basketball or something. But yeah, there were so many things. I'm looking at the list of topics that were discussed: sport, fitness and well-being, digital accessibility, representation of media, intersectionality, disability crime law and policy, sex and relationships, travel, and education. Those were the main ones. And so, yeah, there were lots of different topics that were discussed. Unfortunately, it just wasn't possible to do them all because each zone has a pretty full schedule. So you just sort of have to pick which ones you want to do, plus try and visit all the stores. So it was very packed, as in, trying to fit everything in. How many did you go to, Julia?
The main talks.
The people panel, yeah.
Just went to the media one, to be honest with you. I think because mainly I was, anytime I was going past those stages where they had people talking, live, yes, I agree with you that they were, the room itself was not very good at differentiating between two different events going on. But I always ended up going halfway through each one. So I couldn't really grasp what was going on or understand what was going on, so I just kind of left it. But going back to the people's panel, one thing that Sierra Lawrence covered, which I thought was quite good, was about people disabled actors being involved in shows and production, kind of, is that people with disabilities should be paid for their time in educating actors, directors, screenwriters about how people with disabilities actually live their life. And unfortunately, the society, currently the media isn't, I guess, ready for that change just yet. She did mention how she was helping on a project, but out of nowhere, the script was totally changed. Things that she taught them or educated them on completely were thrown out the window. And I guess they just showed something that they felt comfortable showing rather than taking what they learned and the experiences they received from those people and put them into a script and actually show them in an accurate way. I guess maybe people, the media or directors or whoever's behind writing these shows are scared to portray disabled people in shows. There have been a couple characters and shows that have put disabled people into their shows. I don't remember exactly the shows that she mentioned. I now lost my track of thought. Hold on, it's gonna come back to me. Yeah, so she was like, it should be standard now that if you are looking into portraying a disabled person accurately, if you are going to get given those life lessons that those people are telling you, they should be paid for that time. Definitely, because they are literally giving their life stories for free. No one's telling us that we have to tell our stories and our experiences just for it to be portrayed on a bigger screen and to literally every human being on this planet to understand. It should be something that we should be paid for and something that those people themselves want, the want to show this kind of experiences on the bigger screen, if that makes sense. Which I agree with her 100%. Because she got they really robbed her of those experiences. Any thoughts on that?
No, I don't have anything more to add. That other than I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So, disability consultants that will come in and tell a TV show how to improve. They give all of that time. So, they give a week of their time to make workshops and get people together and put so much work into it in their own free time to just be ignored it's just wickedness, actually. and it makes me go, why did I bother?
Yeah, they don't even show 100%. Like, I feel like, I mean,
It wasn't in fact they completely ignored her. It wasn't they didn't show 100%. They completely ignored her.
yeah, definitely. But I also feel like, obviously, I'm not in that world and I don't know how it works. But from what I see, it's kind of like, from my point of view, it's whatever the people who are making these shows are comfortable portraying or showing on screen, because that's their knowledge, if that makes sense, and they refuse to. I guess to me it seems like you can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of situation, where they have one mindset, one way of seeing people with disabilities, and that's all they're going to show you. They're not going to show you the romantic love interest. They're not going to show you the protagonist. They're not going to show you the villain. They're going to show you, and it's quite saddening for me to see, they're showing you the again, I'm triggered by saying this word, but it has to be used, crippled person who is on a hospital bed hooked up to an IV drip in a hospital. That's
True.
all that Hollywood or the media portrays in any production, movie, series, anything.
That's a lot of it.
It is very frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Did you see any of the live podcasts around, Joel, when you were there for the 2 days?
I didn't, unfortunately. I saw a radio station run by people with learning disabilities. But other than that, not really. Oh, I saw one and I wanted to give my business card, but they were recording. I was like, if I was here recording, I do not want to be interrupted. What do you think, Julia? How could they have been better?
Maybe if there was like clear signage, if that makes sense. Like, I know they had like big banners and stuff stating who they are, but like on the map, like I wish they had like little icons, something that associates with each stall. So like Scope would have their purple logo on there, the Sunflower Lanyard having a sunflower where their stall is, like something to like make people associate with different things.
Something like a mall directory, maybe?
Something like a what?
Like a mall directory?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
You
was
guys have
thinking like, you know, you go to
shopping mall and-
IKEA. And then,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of
That
losing.
would be really helpful.
Am I losing Lexi, or are you losing Lexi as well, Joel?
I think there is a bit of a lag. Can you just say what you said again, please, Lexi?
Yeah.
No, I just think like the IKEA friends, I think that's good too.
Yeah. Maybe also more stalls again associated with hidden disabilities or like learning disabilities. With my conversation with the Sunflower Lanyard stall, the people that were there, they said that they tried to look into what other charities or organizations that can be involved about autism. However, unfortunately, because the dominating one is Autism Speaks, and they know their background and what they stand for, they do not agree for them to be associated with such a, I guess, organization of different charities that meet up, like in those kind of spaces. Definitely not a good idea. Not to trigger people, because they are aware that every single person with a disability, whether it's visible or invisible, will be attending said event. What other organisations are there? I don't even know.
Not sure.
Literally Googling. Hold on.
I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not sure. That's one of the really frustrating things is that autism speaks is the one that
Uh-oh.
comes right to the
We've lost you with it.
that they will accept.
It's gone.
You broke up heavily there.
Very much. Like it was echoing.
Robot Willow returns. Robot Lexi too.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to add to that, Joel? Like anything they can improve on?
Oh yeah, I was looking for my notes, and I have no idea where to save them, because I'm stupid apparently. I shouldn't say that, given the name of a documentary that I just wrote down, and I'm calling myself stupid. I would love to figure out where I left them.
Do you write your notes? I'm curious. Because if you can't find them, there's something very concerning about that. Because I use them with the Samsung Note app. That's where all my notes.
Yeah, I put mine. I know where I put them. I put them in my Google Docs in that document that we have all of our podcast notes. That's where I put it.
Literally,
There we
I
go.
don't look at it, but that's okay.
I think one of the good I think one of the ways that they could improve, because there are so many wheelchairs and mobility aids to test, and if you're trying to work out which one works best, it's really cool that you get to try them, but at the same time, you're trying it in a flat indoor space, and so you can't work out which suspension's better. You can't work out the turning circle as easily. You can't test out, how well it works in everyday life, when you're actually going to use it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like having this weird, like, I don't know, like a wheelchair test area for like different textures and different different scenarios and bumps and stuff, just so that then you can test out how good the chair actually is. Because I feel like some of the chairs would be awful going over bumps.
Now that I think about it, they could have used outdoor space.
I mean, even the outdoors was too flat, to be honest.
No. What I mean is like if they set out like like when you can have like
Having a
fake
sandpit.
like a fake grass thing where you can like lay it out on the ground and there's like different textures. They could have done kind of similar to that, but still utilize the outdoor space because there was a lot of outdoor space that was not being used.
Yeah.
That actually, I didn't really think about that. I was kind of thinking more towards where you were driving, but then even with people with mobility aids or without mobility aids, while you were testing, it was very hard for you to get around them.
Yeah, just a dedicated area to test for chairs.
Like the amount of times I've actually like accidentally nearly crashed between someone with a mobility scooter and me. I had to like back out into an area where there was not a lot of people just for them to go past me. Kind of like a traffic jam kind of situation. I just wish maybe
there were so many wheelchairs.
The aisles were either a bit wider or if they had like a one-way system kind of situation. Like, I mean,
there were so many wheelchairs though, and that was amazing to see. Like,
it was.
I wonder how many people were there and how many people were in wheelchairs. Because I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like, seeing people like yourself is so amazing, and connecting with people like that is just incredible. It's
so exciting as well. You're like, yes, more people.
Exactly, yeah.
But no, like, I've never been in an area with so many wheelchairs. Like, towards the end of it, of the day, I did get quite annoyed because I'm like, for goodness sake, I'm trying to get somewhere. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Embrace it, enjoy it. Why not?
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the information that we got given before the expo actually happened. So I believe you received an email on the Tuesday before, so on the 4th of July. Did you get that email?
Was it like the one with the QR code?
No.
Or was it the question one where you can like submit questions in?
No.
Hold on, let me go back to my emails. It should be very quick because it's not very long.
So this email was sent on the Tuesday, and it was just like we're looking forward to welcoming you soon. And
Oh yeah,
they told you a bit more about the event and the accessibility things there. So the audio description, I didn't test it out. I kind of wish I did, but I didn't. There was BSL available, so British Sign Language. So they had exhibition tours and things like that.
Very nice.
Now, what are you saying, Julia?
I said that I saw the store where the people that were doing BSL, and you could literally come up to like people were coming up to them and they were walking around with different people interpreting for them, which I thought was quite cool.
Yeah. There were live captions available, and just like Mobility MOT. Oh, I don't know about that. But just loads of information that was given beforehand, and links and things, just so that you can have a bit more reassurance about the things going on. What did you think when you saw that email?
Me, I didn't look at it much, because I kind of skimmed through it. So like things like live captions, audio descriptions, and BSL didn't really associate with, to me at least. But in general, I thought it was very accessible to everybody, which I appreciated. And yeah, although I don't know how, and didn't really speak to many people who were using those. Oh my god, my brain. Those accommodations. There's the word I was looking for. Accommodations. I didn't really ask anybody how they felt about the accommodations provided, so I can't really say much about it, but I do appreciate they did that.
Yeah. I think we've come to the end. If there's anything else you want to add, Julia, or any questions, Lexi?
Yeah, because I was thinking to myself, is Lexi going to ask us something? I would have loved her to.
Uh-oh, I think Lexi's frozen.
So much.
I just suddenly realised Lexi hasn't moved for a good, minute.
I wasn't paying attention. I was, just talking to you. So that clearly shows us that's the end of our episode. Anything you would like to ask us, Lexi, or you want to add, or anything at all?
I wish I could have.
And now Robot Willow is definitely here.
Okay, so that's definitely our cue that we are done with this episode.
She says, just that I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, it would have been fun. I think if we went as a group, that would have been amazing. But again,
yeah,
we have the ocean that is separating us.
Yeah. Silly old Atlantic. Thanks for joining us on episode 3 of series 2 of Ramped Up, our podcast all about disability. My name is Joel Sprouse.
Literally Sienko.
Lexi Bush now.
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media. We are on all the social medias now, I think, except Threads. I need to make a Threads account at some point. The new social media that's popped up. And you can also watch us on YouTube in case there's any other footage that you want to see. You can also join our Discord server where we are building a network of disabled people, and we want to have lots of conversations with you guys. If you would like to become a guest on our podcast, then get in contact with us on one of our social media or email us rampedup.podcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you this time next week. Bye.